If you cheer for the underdog, now's your chance. On an African island, 6 loners raised in captivity face a true survival test. Return to the wild, bond as a pack, and fend for themselves. Survive and they may help save a vanishing species. But look at the obstacle course. To make it, these dogs will need all the lives of a cat. Zimbabwe is home to the world's most ambitious dog shelter, the Painted Dog Conservation Project, a halfway house for the endangered African hunting dog. The project is based in Hwange National Park. More than 10 times the size of Los Angeles, it's the largest game reserve in Zimbabwe.
Our mission is to rehabilitate any animal that is capable of being rehabilitated back into the wild, goes back into the wild.
The reason we built all of this is that over the years we've dealt with a lot of snared, injured, orphaned dogs, and we've often had to just treat them in the wild. You know, we've immobilized them, removed the snare, cleaned up the wound, and then just let them go. You know, you're leaving them very vulnerable in that state. Like this guy here, you know, a few weeks of just recuperation will make all the difference to his chances of survival.
His chances are slim to start. Some 500,000 dogs once roamed much of Africa. Today, barely 5,000. The chief culprit? Loss of habitat. A typical pack needs a territory bigger than most wildlife preserves. With less turf, dogs fall victim to lions and hyenas, farmers and hunters, disease and traffic, even bad PR.
They had really negative press because of the stupid name Wild Dog. Everyone was, are they domestic dog gone wild? Are they savage? Are they aggressive? And a lot of people didn't even realise that here is a very unique animal.
Greg calls them by their unique look, painted dogs. Greg has studied them for more than 2 decades. His passion rubbed off on Peter.
I read an article about Greg in a magazine and contacted him and just said I'd like to help. And that was nearly 10 years ago, so it was quite a significant moment, I guess, in my life. But the dogs for me have always been a passion. And since I was a kid, it's the dogs that really got me interested in wildlife. And in the first place, you know, watching a documentary on TV when I was about 8 years old about the dogs, and that was it, I was hooked.
Here in Hwange, Peter nurses sick dogs back to health and returns them to their pack. Now he's about to try something much bolder. Take 6 loners raised in captivity, turn them into a pack, and set them free. Freeing one dog is one thing. 6 has never been tried. A typical day in Hwange begins cold and early, the best time to find dog tracks. Jealous Mopofo tracks free-ranging dogs by their radio collars.
They're in that direction.
Part of his job is field research on Hwange's dog packs. The more they learn about the dog's habits, the better they can protect them. Jealous can distinguish each dog by the unique pattern of its coat. Like Peter, he's a dog lover.
I like the big ears and then also the big wide tail, fluffy one. That was my first time to see that animal. It's really beautiful. I think this is gonna be my whole of my life. I will never, never leave this job. I really like it.
So does his brother, Xmas Mapufu. He supervises the holding pens and the rehabilitation of the patients. Some are too weak to ever return to the wild. Others have been chosen for the project's pioneering experiment.
Currently, we've got 11 dogs that are here, and we're going to be releasing 6 of them on Wednesday.
Of the 6, the newest arrival is young Mashambo, just 10 months. He was found nearby, starving to death after his father was killed and his mother vanished. Londolozo was snatched from his mother as a puppy. Ulaka was orphaned when his entire pack succumbed to the anthrax bacteria after eating infected prey. For the first time, Mashambo will meet the other males. Like all canids, painted dogs are pack animals. For the project to succeed, they must establish a hierarchy. The other 3 are Arrow and her 2 sisters, Notch, named for a clipped ear, and a sister not yet named. All were once slated for death by South Africa after outgrowing their park. To avoid fighting among the males, the females are kept separate till the whole pack is relocated.
One dog's not going to survive in the wild on its own. They need to be in a pack. They're a very social animal. So that's what we try and do with the orphans. We try and form a pack and then release that pack into the wild. They've got much better chances of survival.
Even here, the dogs are wild animals, and their handlers want to keep it that way. They vary feeding time to avoid domesticating the dogs, and they ensure each feeding mimics a hunt.
It'll work once they start. No, that's a bit of grease on that, don't you? All right, let's get out of the way then we'll call Jealous to open the gate.
I'll close the gate first.
As in the wild, they have to cooperate, or the carcass will slip away. Like the others, Londoloza has never worked with pack mates.
So, I mean, it's a new thing for him, so yeah, he might be just nervous of the whole thing anyway.
In 4 days, they all leave for their new home.
We've got a special island which is overpopulated with impalas. So we're gonna release those 6 dogs in that island.
An island of safety. No lions, no hyenas, and no humans. The dog's new home wasn't always an island. Victoria Falls flows into the Zambezi River. The river was dammed in the late 50s making what once were highlands, islands. Starvation Island sits amid the river on the northern border of Zimbabwe, 250 miles from the Painted Dog Conservation Project in Hwange. Barely 2 square miles, but teeming with prey, and no predators. Wild dog heaven. Before the dogs arrive, the team will erect an observation tower. Everything they need to build the tower, they have to bring. From here, they can watch the dogs without disturbing them. The big day arrives. Moving day. Dogs are creatures of habit. They sense something's up. Ahead stretches a 17-hour journey. Keeping the dogs calm is vital. That's where mild tranquilizers come in. After eating the laced meat, they're moved into a small cage, one by one. Now they're calm enough to be injected with a stronger sedative.
Perfect, well done. That's Longoloza, ML, all the way down to the boxes. He's been out half an hour.
While the dogs are under, the team attaches snare-proof collars with metal studs to snap wire should they wander into a trap meant for another animal. Greg will go on ahead to ensure everything's ready once they reach the river.
How worked up they get.
Start loading the dogs in. So we'll put the 3 females in your car. Let's do that first.
Cool water helps keep the heat down.
Perfect. Perfect.
A small convoy of 3 trucks heads north. Peter also tows all the fuel they'll need at the island.
It's gonna be a long trip since the road is so bumpy, but we'll make it.
Every few hours, the convoy stops to check on the dogs. Mulaka sedative has worn off.
Definitely wide awake.
Yes, it's always scaring me when I'm driving.
All seems well.
My team, if you are ready, we are leaving now.
8 hours into the journey, car trouble. The road is littered with sharp stones. With a new tire, Xmas moves on. Peter will follow, as soon as he checks Arrow and Notch's sister. The sedative should have worn off, but she's not moving.
She basically didn't wake up from the anesthesia, and that's, you know, that's pretty sad. You just never know. It's like humans. I mean, you never know that every single dog reacts differently under anesthesia. It could have happened at any time. We could have immobilized her for a veterinary procedure or whatever, and the same thing could have happened. You just accept that, as hard as it is, and it's upsetting at the time. You accept it. Hopefully the other 5 will make up for that.
For once, a night light on the dark trip. Bushfires. After 16 hours, the first truck at last reaches Lake Kariba. By now, Greg has heard the bad news. No time to mourn. They have 5 dogs to set free. Greg supervises loading the boat. They haven't slept in over 30 hours, but the payoff is just minutes away. Waiting to help are park rangers. With only a nibble in the last few days, the dogs will be hungry. For 5 dogs raised in captivity, the first step to freedom. Last out is the only one who ever lived in the wild, Mashambo, still woozy from the journey. True freedom will take a longer journey. The team will monitor the dogs for months to come.
We have to keep providing them with food just to give them the time to adapt to being in the wild.
Predators in particular are exceedingly tough to get back into the wilds because they've got so much to learn. And it's not just about hunting, it's learning about working together and learning how to understand a territory. They're also, the other thing is they come out of captivity, they're not fit. And you can't expect, an animal that's been in captivity for maybe 6 months or even 3 months to be able to suddenly then, do a burst speed of, 65, 70 kilometers an hour to run for 3 or 4 kilometers if need be. You just can't expect it.
The island makes the perfect classroom for the dogs to learn to become wild.
There's no other predators on the island, which is a good thing.
So they don't have to worry while they're trying to get food. They don't have to worry about, lions and hyenas maybe coming to steal their food.
And by being on an island, we can monitor it more closely. We can keep an eye on them. If they're not being successful, we can provide meat for them. Worst case scenario is we can recapture them and take them off the island if it's really not working.
The other hopeful benefit of this whole operation is that there are huge numbers of predators in captivity. The reason given for them staying in captivity is that, we can't release them, they can't go back to the wild. And, this island, it could apply to many other species and not just African species.
Freedom isn't the only first. Males and females have never mingled before. They waste no time. Londoloza lays with Arrow's sister, Notch.
We were quite confident that it wouldn't be a problem. They'd been on a fence line for a long time, so they knew each other. They just hadn't had their physical contact. As soon as we put them together, they were all very happy.
Fed and free, the dogs start to explore their new territory. Notch has never seen so much water before. Clearly, canids can be as curious as felines. Though wild, one shares a trait with its domestic cousin, the irresistible urge to investigate shoes. Tonight, another first. Until sunup, the dogs will not see a human face. Dinner time. For the first time since leaving home, they relax.
That's the extent of my fishing.
The great experiment has begun. The dogs are early birds. They're moving long before the team. Waterbuck came to drink, and the dogs followed.
Yes, I think they've been having a bit of fun already, testing and test chasing. So there was a set of waterbuck tracks that were really, you know, when they dig right in and you see the scuff.
Yeah.
And I saw one of those. It's good fun, good practice. Yeah, I think they have been chasing them already. Dog training camp. Where they're going to learn how to be dogs again.
The students may be slow learners.
Yeah, they come down.
72 hours now since we put them on the island, and they hadn't shown any real sign of hunting. They've shown a bit of interest in some of the game, the impala and waterbuck, but we haven't seen them actually chase anything. The impala probably know that the dogs are here, but the dogs haven't registered that impala a food source for them, I don't think.
So, how to motivate them? Painted dogs will coordinate their attack and tire prey with a sustained chase. But these dogs tire first.
I dragged the meat behind the bike for a few hundred metres, and that really showed one of the problems we've got, I think, because they could only just keep up with me, and I wasn't driving that fast. When I got to the point where we'd stopped here, they were quite exhausted. It's not unexpected. They've lived for 2 or 3 years inside our rehab facility, except for the Machambo male. But he's only a yearling, so he also doesn't have very much experience. But it's still early days.
The dogs are the only predators on the island, but Greg and Jealous discover the tracks of a visitor.
Dogs over here.
Yeah.
See, this is a crocodile.
Yeah, and he's gone and disappeared into the water there. Well, we'll soon learn what all these things are. The thing is, the best is though that Machambo has wild experience.
Yes.
So he knows what a crocodile is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been taught what a crocodile is. So with any luck, he can give the signal to the others.
You'll be the good advisor to the other dogs, I think.
Dog advice.
Yes.
The team doesn't expect trouble. Crocs don't venture beyond the shore, and dogs don't venture into the water. Peter worries more about another threat.
The main threat here is poaching. There was those 4 boats yesterday with 8 people in them, and some of them were up on in this bush here.
This bush, yeah.
So they've maybe set snares.
Snares kill without distinction, and curious dogs snare easily. If a game poacher finds a dog, he'll likely kill it to get his snare back. Signs of poachers are hard to spot, unless you know what to look for. Jealous can tell wire was wrapped around these branches.
So they've removed the wire.
Yeah.
There you can see the marks where the wire was in that branch.
Yeah.
Some signs are easier to spot.
I think maybe these are the fishermongers they were there.
Got this here, look. This is only a few days old. This is since the dogs have been here.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they put it there, because of the dog.
Yeah, I think they will.
The camp is 3 or 4 days old, but Jealous isn't worried. He believes the intruders were just fishermen drying their catch. No snares are found.
They were drying up their fish.
2 weeks pass. Who says there's no free lunch?
Well, it's not looking very good at the moment. They clearly haven't figured out any hunting success, or I don't even think they've tried yet. We have to keep providing them with food if they're not providing for themselves, just to give them the time to adapt to being in the wild and recognising that the waterbuck and impala are a food source and that they have to learn how to catch it. Although when they're eating like this, I don't think anything will put them off. Londeloza. He likes his food, that one.
Over the next few days, Peter and Jealous observe half-hearted attempts at hunting. For the dogs, a waterbuck is big game. Impala flee, but waterbucks stand their ground. A Mexican standoff in Zimbabwe, with Arrow leading the hesitant attack.
That's why they ignored those impalas over there.
Can you see, is it Impala 4 or is it a big Impala?
After anxious weeks, a breakthrough.
Baby impala.
Yeah, we call it baby impala.
We just call it a
But
baby.
they can't pronounce the name.
Instinctively, they take up hunting positions. Mashambo takes the lead.
Good. They look much better, no?
Yeah,
They're very full.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Adult impala are still too fast, but the young?
Yeah.
Their first kill. On the path to survival, the dogs have passed a milestone. Ahead lies a bigger test. November brings the rainy season. For the next few weeks, an observer will watch the dogs. The team has work back at Hwange. A new dog is healing from a snare injury. Peter needs to check its leg. To catch it, they'll chase it into a net.
Just move around behind him. Cover his head, cover his head. That's it, well done. Dale, just cover his head, cover his head. It's fine, well done, well done. Oh, well, that worked.
Wild animals under stress fight back.
Left leg is down. Keep pressure on him. Ow. He just bit my knee. Sure. Yeah. Keep pressure on him. Eh? He bit you as well. Okay. Yeah.
A little quieter.
They're probably more susceptible to poaching or getting caught in snares than any other animal because they cover such big distances on any given day. I mean, they can move 20 kilometres, 25 kilometres in a day hunting. So their likelihood of them encountering a snare is very high. It's higher, probably, than any other animal, and thus they regularly get caught in snares.
Yeah, they've joined.
You know, an X-ray would show you exactly what's happening, but what I feel now is a fracture that's healed. It just hasn't healed perfectly.
Right.
Good news, the leg is healing well. Yet he'll never be fit enough to return to the wild. Others will also stay put, like John and Angela.
She had a broken back and he had a broken back leg, so we think they're not fit to go back into the wild. We'll be using them to show kids when they come at the bush camp, because some of them, it will be their first time to see painted dogs, and they're going to tell their parents about what they've seen here at the rehabilitation center and what they've been taught about the dogs.
The situation for dogs in Africa is that unless we change perceptions, you will not save dogs in Africa.
While the team waits for perceptions to change, their island experiment continues. Time brings progress. The hunting dogs are becoming hunters.
Even if we hadn't seen the dogs eating this, we know it's a dog kill, because they don't eat the big bones like the legs, even though these look quite small. The dogs, they don't have the crushing like a hyena crushes the bones. The dogs don't do that, so they always leave these legs.
Peter and Jealous need a closer look to check the dog's health. Domesticated animals associate humans with food and get excited, but Yulaka ignores them. A good sign.
This one's the alpha male.
More good news. All 5 look healthy.
That's the best I've seen them.
Yeah.
In what, 4 months?
It's 4 months now.
So I think they've got over the hardest part now.
Yeah, I think so.
But in the wild, the hardest part is never behind. Days later comes dire news. The lively Notch and the male Yulaka are missing. As Peter scans the island, Jealous searches for collar signals. He finds Londoloza, Mashambo, and Arrow. No sign of the rest. Both men have theories. Peter blames poachers, Jealous blames crocodiles. Hours into the search, Peter detects a faint signal from a missing collar in a small bay favored by crocs.
It's right in that bay there, so I think that pretty much confirms that a croc has probably mistaken him. I picked up the signal, but it wasn't. It's definitely there in that bay. So.
To survive now, Mashambo, Londoloza, and Arrow must hunt like a pack twice their size. Even 3 hunters could take a young waterbuck, but he knows a trick.
The waterbuck have got great anti-predator defences, because that's why they're called waterbuck, is the second the dogs try to chase them, they all run into the water.
Bad luck dogs the survivors, and it only gets worse. The dogs are protected from land-based predators by a mile-wide moat infested with crocodiles. Against the odds, predators have crossed it. The team's spotter saw lion spoor on the island. Fishermen saw the lions themselves. Top predators in a small space spelled death for weaker ones. The Park Service grants permission to dart and move the lions. Tracks lead inland to woods, a perfect spot for an ambush. Backed by park rangers, the team is armed but nervous. Lions are dangerous, and a sedative dart takes time to work. For more protection, they make a wall of coarse grass. Lions hesitate to penetrate such a thorny barrier. To lure the lions, waterbuck. Something spooks the herd. Peter waits for hours. Finally, a predator takes the bait. Mashambo. The lions must have swum back home. Maybe bad luck is finally turning to good. Two males, one female, half the number that left Hwange. A fragile pack, yet proof that the great experiment can work. Captive dogs can learn to live free. Once the dogs are strong enough, the team will transfer them to a bigger home in a national park.
For all intents and purposes, now they're in the wild, and it's where they should be, so it's fantastic.
You know, there's nothing better than feeling useful in life. Yeah, there's something really good about being able to redress some of the damage done by human beings.
Man, not lions or crocs, poses the dog's worst threat. Yet no dog has ever been known to attack a human. The team's biggest challenge isn't training dogs, it's changing minds. Until then, Arrow, Londoloza and Mashambo have been given a second chance.